Everyone, today we are going to talk about getting into line and making lines and some things to avoid, and mostly body mechanics, right? When we're drawing big, especially drawing from observation, large, quickly, gesturally, one of the things we want to do is learn how to use our bodies, right? Drawing is a physical activity. So for today's exercise, what you're going to want is 18 by 24 drawing paper, your vine charcoal. You're going to go through quite a bit of charcoal. Your paper, feel free to use one sheet and rub out each drawing as you go along, and then draw the next exercise right over that. So before we get started on the technical part of the assignment, let's just talk about a few things. When I talk about body mechanics, there's a major thing to keep in mind is when I draw with my fingers, my mistakes as well as my control is in a very small range. When I draw with my wrist, that range gets bigger, right? When I draw with my shoulder or my elbow, you can see that I have a lot more control as I use bigger sections of my body. If I tried to draw a straight line like that with my fingers, right, I can't do it without moving my hands quite a bit, right? So once I get my shoulder involved, nice, big, straight lines, okay? So take a while at first just getting used to the charcoal, especially if you haven't used it before. Play around a little bit, you know, you can put it on its side, see what happens. And one thing you'll notice with the charcoal is as soon as you get through that first kind of outside layer, it gets nice and rich. So as you draw, feel free to just rub out the drawing below. This is a chamois, but you can also just use a paper towel or your hand if you have that. So spend a little while just getting used to the charcoal, right? And practice just extending your arm and making marks. You want to kind of fall in love with the richness of the medium. For our first part of the exercise, we're going to work with parallel lines. Now, just to be clear, what we're not doing is sketching type lines, right? We want to be drawing with our whole arm, okay? So one thing to do, you're going to be drawing curves, and one thing to do is to kind of visualize the curve you want to start with, right? Maybe this kind of like long S shape. And all I'm going to do is keep drawing that shape until I fill up the page, right? And what I'm trying to do is just train my arm to kind of feel out that line, okay? Then when I'm filled up the page one way, maybe I'll change it up. Maybe I will change it up. And what I'm going to do is draw straight lines that are parallel, crossing that direction. Okay, so I'm just filling up the page quickly without a lot of thinking, just drawing through my shoulder and elbow to fill up that page with parallel line texture. Okay, for the second part of the exercise, we're going to make repeating lines. So again, I'm going to draw a straight line and a curved line of my choice. But this time I'm going to draw on top of them quickly and see how accurate I can be. So here's my straight line. And I'm just tuning my arm to make that straight line motion over and over again. Try it from a different direction, right? And notice how your ability to control that straightness changes as you change direction, right? That direction for me is just a little more wobbly until I tune my arm in. So we're going to do that same thing with a few curved lines, nice and quickly. Again, this is like muscle memory, right? This is like doing exercises for the drawing arm, okay? So just repeating those lines, filling the page. Okay, for the third part of the exercise, we're going to draw radial lines. And what that means is each line is going to start at the same point, so maybe the corners of the page, and radiate out from that, right? So what we're trying to do is see if we can train that straight line sensibility in all different directionalities, right? So we want to do this from each corner of the page, just to give our hands an opportunity to feel and gain that muscle memory from all the different directions that we could draw these lines from. All right, for the first part of the exercise, we're going to be creating mirrored lines. What this is going to do is give you a chance to experience the same marks from opposite movements, right? It's going to help train your eye and your hand. And it's also going to give your arm some great different experiences of movement that you can do. So play with whatever shapes you like. Get that page filled up with mirrored lines. The last part of this exercise, we're going to draw circles and ellipses, and you can think of these as preparation for when we start to draw again from objects that we see, right? Like the old wine glass, okay? So what you're going to do is fill up that page and imagine that you're watching that circle, looking down on the top of my glass. Now it's slightly to the side, it's a little more to the side, and even more to the side, right? Don't worry about it being perfect. Mine obviously aren't. Worry about doing it quickly, right? This is about muscle memory and not perfection, right? You might do it again where you're drawing it like it's moving this way in space. Okay? This is how you'll encounter most still life objects. Okay? Just keep working it. Keep going. You can't draw too many ellipses. Okay, that is it for the line work exercise. Here is a reminder: 18 by 24 inch paper, vine charcoal. Now you can do as I did and just rub that charcoal out in between and draw over and over and over again. Okay? Or you can use a fresh sheet of paper, totally up to you. Remember, when you finish each one of these, take a picture before starting the next one. And it's those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pictures that you will turn in to get credit for this exercise. So 1 full page of parallel lines, 1 of repeating lines, 1 full page of radial lines, 1 full page of mirrored lines, and 1 full page at least of circles and ellipses. Remember, big smooth movements are a yes, small sketchy drawing is a no. Okay. Go big, bold, go bold, enjoy yourself, and I'll see you next time.